Hey everyone, Rawdawg Rory here, and we were looking to do a video with Mom this week, but snow and busy schedules totally screwed that. But good news is Mom is kicking butt with her raw food stuff. She's doing a high raw diet, and about 80%, like all throughout the day, she's doing smoothies, she's made granola, she's concocting all this really awesome stuff. And one of the recipes I just shared with her recently, we're gonna be doing a video of as soon as we get the chance. So that'll be really cool. And today I want to share with you a video, another portion of the video that we took with Dave the Raw Food Trucker. And in this one we're talking about, and he's talking about spreading the raw love. And how when you get into this lifestyle and when you start experiencing the benefits, you want to share it. It's just such a great thing that you want to share it with everyone you know. And this can be really good, and the way to make it really awesome, in my opinion, because so many people have been asking me, how did you inspire your family to get into raw foods? I'm bugging my family, I want to get into raw foods, it's good for you. Well, the thing that really worked for me was just keep sticking with it, enjoying it, and always sharing the positives. Like, oh, since I started doing this, I feel this way. My sinus infections are going, I'm losing weight. Aches and pains are going away. That's what everybody wants to hear. They want to hear the positive results. And when they start seeing that in you and hearing that from you, that's when they're going to get excited. They're going to get all geeked up about it and they're going to want in. So that's what I say to everybody who's saying, I want to inspire my family. Inspire them through your actions and sharing the positive results. And also, don't ever preach, no preaching, and don't diss their current diet. This keeps them open. You don't want to make people defensive. You want their guard to be down so that you can sneak some yummy raw foods in there. And when you do that, I always recommend when you first share some raw foods with somebody, make it something that is super delicious. You don't want to hit somebody up with a nice cold dark green juice. Here, here's your first taste of raw foods. No, don't do that. Not good. You want their first taste of raw foods to really show them the fun things that they can add into their diet. And it's all about adding stuff into your diet. What cool things can I add in my diet? Oh, I can add green smoothies. I can add raw desserts. I can add a raw chocolate milkshake into my diet instead of driving down to some fast food joint and picking one up there. That's the kind of stuff you want to get people hooked into, and they start playing around with that, and then soon, who knows, then they're starting to add more and more good things in, and that bad stuff, the bad crap, just kind of ekes its way out naturally, so you don't even got to worry about that. So, without further ado, I want to share this video with you, this segment of the video we took in Seattle with Dave the Raw Food Trucker, where he's talking about the experiences he's had sharing the benefits of raw foods and how that inspired others to share their benefits with raw foods. And I think it's awesome, so here it is.
I teach people how to drive. That's how I met David and Yuta Whiting, who saved my life. They're looking at this 430 pound blob of toxic waste dump, fat, basically. And they're saying, we know how you can go on a diet and eat all you want. I was like, bingo, I'm there, and it works. I mean, this is not 430 pounds, guys. This is about 200 pounds approximately. And something else that happened was because I teach people how to drive, I had a student 2 weeks ago. His name is Bernardino. He's Hispanic. We call him Bernie. And he hopped into my truck, and some people at work had told him, hey, this guy has lost all this weight, he's off his diabetic meds, and all these things that had happened. And so he hopped in my truck. He says, so how do you get off your diabetic meds? So I told him, I said, well, I did, and I did this and this and this. And so then he goes, well, I want to get off my diabetic meds. And I just kind of looked at him, because a lot of people come to me and say that, but through their actions I don't see that they want to get off it bad enough to actually do what your mother did and go on that take that 6-week challenge to heart. And then I'm sure she had your support. This is a big factor too.
Absolutely.
You've got to be around like-minded people that have that kind of support. You are able to give her that love, that nurturing, and make sure and help her on her path. Because I guarantee you one thing, and I'm sure your mother can relate to this, at 430 pounds, all the way down to about 250, for me, I was going on radical food binges. I I didn't understand things the way I do now. Getting back to my student, Bernie, he said, I will do whatever you do to get off these diabetic meds. Well, okay, so for me, you got to understand, I mean, I've done 150 days approximately of juicing, non-consecutive, because when my first juice feast only lasted 6 days. I wanted to throw up from the juice, because it was like, ah! But, you know, and then I went to Gabriel Cousins' Rainbow Green Live Food Cuisine, and I ate some of that, stayed low glycemic. Then the next week I said, all right, I can try this again, and I did 8 or 9 days, and then I was like, wow. Then I'm going to eat some more food, and then the next time it was like 12 or 13 days, and then the next time I kept eating the Rainbow Green Live Food Cuisine from Dr. Gabriel Cousins' book, and then I would do from the Cure, There Is a Cure for Diabetes, his other book, the juicing. And I applaud these people that do 92-day juice feasts and just go into it. And, you know, Angela Stokes, my God, man, you know, that's just, she is an incredible, incredible human being. These people that can go do that. I could not, okay? I could not. I totally failed at this, and yet I'm still here because I never quit. So if you just keep looking at this and never quitting, you will eventually get it, okay? And that's really kind of what I told Bernie. So Bernie goes, whatever you do, I will do. I said, you sure about that? Because I can do 4 or 5 days juice feast and standing on my head. And he was like, what's a juice feast? I said, you're about to find out. So brought him up here. He even had some food because I wanted to introduce him to the raw food restaurants up here in Seattle. So I had a day off. We took him around, stayed low glycemic on the food, and in 4 days, his blood sugar started, I'm dyslexic, so I can't remember if it was 270 or 370, but it was up there. It was either 270 or 370, but after 4 days, it was below 120. Yeah. And when we got back down to work, some of the suits and tie, I call them suits at work, they were like, oh, hey, here's this student. I'm like, hey, Bernie, tell him how things are going, because, you know, about the driving, right? The truck driving, right? Because I'm teaching this guy how to drive. Bernie doesn't talk about truck driving. Bernie starts talking about living foods. I'm no longer on diabetic medicine. This is incredible. Why don't you guys tell me about this? And it's just like, I don't think they know. And I just kind of turned around and walked away because I was like, he's got it. He's the best witness for it. I don't need to say nothing. I just left, and Bernie's going on and on. And pretty soon there's 3 suits, and then there's 4 suits, and then there's 5 suits, you know? That's just, it's just an explosion. I remember when I was at Giuliano's, Giuliano just looked at me and goes, this is an explosion from the heart, he said, and it's not like anything else. It's just, it's almost like a movement, man. I mean, this person goes to this person, and this person goes to that. And we're not setting up offices, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. It comes from the heart, it really does, because when you start experiencing these healing effects, these healing aspects, what you really want to do, and what I see in what you're doing really, Rory, is you have the heart to go out there and help people. And that really is where we're all coming from. We're coming from a place of wanting to share with others. We're not trying to proselytize, we're not trying to evangelize, we're not trying to say, you have to live this way. What we are trying to say is that we have discovered something, and what I'm beginning to see is it's in the norm for living foods, raw foods. It is not in the abnormal, okay? And I'm going to give you guys an example of this. I'm shooting a documentary. Right now we have 33 people that have lost 100 pounds in less than 6 months on living foods, okay? Jim Cassell, a friend of mine, he's very famous up here in the Pacific Northwest. Everybody knows him as the brain meter dude. He had a stroke and a brain aneurysm. His mother was told he was going to be dead before the end of the day, if I have this correct. And he was in a wheelchair, and the left side of his body was partially paralyzed. And it took him years to get out of this, okay? This is one of my closest friends now, and this is a guy that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, because he had to figure out being partially paralyzed in a wheelchair, slumped over, not being able to talk, not being able to communicate, and he found raw living foods and figured it out. And it took him years, but he's no longer in a wheelchair. He's walking around. He has his driver's license back, and this guy is right now touring in Israel, spreading the word about living foods, giving talks. And that's what happens with us, those of us that just have this paradigm shift in our lives.